Hey y'all, my name is Wyatt. I started my career in workforce development with the state of Kentucky in 2010. That experience ignited a deep passion for manufacturing within me. I started this show hoping to raise more awareness around the bright outlook manufacturing careers have. Join me as I sit down with some of the manufacturing industry's most successful changemakers and learn how they're partnering people with technology. It's time to give people more meaningful work. This is Workforce 4.0. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Workforce 4.0. This is your host, Ann Wyatt. I'm here today with the amazing Ken Macken, founder of Workr Labs. Ken, thank you so much for doing the show. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm actually amazing. I'm working hard here in California, but yeah, loving what I'm doing with my new company. I've been doing this for a year, but this is my third company, and I've been working in manufacturing for over 20 years in that dirty, dull, and dangerous part of robotics in manufacturing that nobody seems to care about because they haven't changed it in that long.
Yes, Ken, I love our deep dive conversations that no one gets to hear. So maybe we can do a little bit more of that today. But I really enjoyed meeting you at MD&M West this year. And I've enjoyed getting to know you over the past few months and having these conversations about what we're doing about the manufacturing workforce. And this has been a refreshing breath of fresh air because I love your passion. But for everyone listening today, can you share a little bit more about yourself and get us warmed up with all of your amazing energy and passion for the industry?
Yeah, as I said, I'm Ken Macken. I'm not from the South like Anne. I'm from further south. I'm from Australia. But I've been in this country since 2012 on and off, but lived here all across, lived in Kansas City, lived here in the San Francisco Bay Area, New York. I spent a lot of time over here. I love being over here. But my background, I grew up on a farm in rural Australia. My father was a Boilermaker welder, and I've always grown up building things. I've been building things my whole entire life. And then I worked in manufacturing for, as I said, majority of my life, over 20 years. I started off in manufacturing in all places in fiber optics, building the world's internet. And then I worked in solar panel manufacturing, where I was building photovoltaics and commercializing technology there. I'm actually a fitter and turner by trade. I'm a machinist, and I'm also a tool maker. I went on then to become a mechanical engineer and a software engineer. I then got headhunted to go become a system integrator, so working on robotics and computer vision systems in large automotive and food and beverage. I then left that company to start my own company. And I built that company out, specializing in vision-guided robotics in Australia, but also throughout Southeast Asia. I sold that company off and then moved on to being in manufacturing, but in cell phones for senior citizens. So we started a company doing that. We built that company out. And that's what brought me to the US, what brought me to Kansas City, where I was out there with Sprint and working with their team out there. From there, we didn't have such a successful exit, but we did that for multiple years and built amazing technology there. From there, we went on. I've worked with many other companies in defense and manufacturing in terms of work for Flightboard as their head of product and product development there with an amazing team there. Working in defense applications, building drone systems that we were, using lasers to shoot down drones out of the sky over a mile away. And that company is doing extremely successful and doing amazing things in the world. But the whole time I've been in manufacturing, robots haven't changed. It's still incredibly hard to use robotics. There's only a small group of people in the world that know how to use them. And it's taken me this many years, my whole life, to actually understand how to use them successfully and deploy them in not just large volume manufacturing, but into applications where they're more diverse and highly sort of dynamic applications. But I love it. And I brought a whole team together. And we're doing this now. We're doing it for about a year. And now we're working with the world's biggest brands. And we're actually helping change that workforce that's actually installing these robots. And I think that's how we kicked it off, Aaron, is that we've been looking at how do we change? What does manufacturing look like in the future? And I've got some big ideas. And you've heard my ideas, and maybe we'll touch on it a bit more today.
That's amazing. Yeah, you've been all over the industry, and I think that's important because you're bringing a perspective, but also the level of experience where you've seen things. and you're seeing where efficiencies are, and you're like, hey, let's get together and let's overcome these problems and solve them. So I think this is going to be an incredible conversation. But if before we get too far into it, I've got to give you the official Workforce 4.0 welcome. And I've got to know, Ken, if we were out somewhere and we were going to do karaoke, because I'm a huge music fan, love karaoke, I got to know, Ken, what's your go-to karaoke song?
As I think I've mentioned to you previously, I'm not the biggest karaoke person, but I do karaoke, and it's I just because I like having fun with this sort of thing. There's obviously like the Killers with Mr. Brightside. It's an easy one to sing along with. I don't think you can get it wrong. It kind of pulls you in. I like Counting Crows, like Mr. Jones, great song, so it's easy to get into. I really like that song actually. So yeah, I think a lot of songs that I like. I don't think I have a go-to, but I like Radiohead and Creep, but it sounds weird because it's a creep, but who cares? Type of person.
That's fantastic. Those are definitely some good ones. Those are some good karaoke songs, some fun ones too. Yeah. Ken, it seems to me you don't want to go karaoke. Maybe we should go sometime.
No, we have to. We get to sing Lizzo songs together. This is what we're going to do. I don't know if there's anyone else who wants to join in.
Awesome. I had to get that question out of the way because that's something I ask everyone on Workforce 4.0. I think it's an important question because it really lets our audience get to know the guest on the show. It's a little icebreaker for them. So I appreciate that, even though you're not too big into karaoke. But we're going to change that. We're going to get you out there. I know that we've been having these conversations over the past couple of months about the state of the industry. And it's exciting, Kim, because I'm a millennial. I don't know if that matters, but we're all about change. We want things to change. We've been doing this for a while now. It seems like maybe we've been a little slow to adopt technology in this industry, or maybe change our practices to recruit the next generation of the workforce.
Oh, it's definitely. We're stuck in our ways. You look at some of the equipment and you can see that it got stuck in time. I don't know, like somebody told them they're not allowed to move or something. But yeah, we'll chat a bit more about that.
And from my perspective, when it comes to the recruiting side of things and the skills gap and the labor shortage and all of these things that we're always talking about, how do we get this generation of talent to just into manufacturing? How do we recruit more and source more talent into the workforce?
Look, I think the workforce of today and the future is going to be different to what it has been today and the past. It's a weird thing. I think we're at a point where we have outdated tools and the people trying to use those tools don't want to use those tools. That's how I see it. But we have availability to move the industry forward because we're using LLMs and ChatGPT and all this sort of stuff. And people want to do those fun things, a little bit more sparkly style things. Manufacturing hasn't evolved to that. I think we're trying to think of technology replacing people, but it's probably not what we should be focusing on. I think the labor shortage is that we don't have enough jobs that people want to be engaged with. It's about having the best people doing the work that they want to do, and you should be able to attract people into your business because you've got exciting work to do. Like my passion for manufacturing is probably one of the highest things there is in my life. I love building things. I love seeing things being created by amazing and smart people, but the jobs, the equipment they're working on, I get out of date. Now, automation shouldn't be like removing that. It should just remove the grunt work, like the boring stuff. I totally agree with. So it can unlock more capabilities that people want to do, that people want to show up to work to do. Because right now, nobody wants to show up to work and move a thing from point A to point B. Or if they do, they're not very proud of their job. It's just what I get to do. We want to give them a job that they care about, they have purpose for. They go home and they feel like amazing. Their families feel amazing. Like then their community feels amazing. Like the companies want to use like smarter tools. People want to use smarter tools. They use their phone every day to do amazing things on. They want to go to work and have that sort of engagement too. And really what we do at Workr, we have a bit of a thing there. We have AI and we bring robotics and usability together so people can get the robot to do the job that they want. Not having to be swamped in code and all these things. That's just, no, I wanted to get this thing done now. And we make that happen. And I think that's what people want to do. They want to have useful machines. They want to have happy workers. The problem of the labor is around having a good job for somebody to show up to. And that's what we're trying to cover here. I think that's what people want. Maybe I'm wrong, Anne. Maybe people want something else.
I don't know. I think there's a lot to be said for enjoying your job and your work. I think that technology is really an enabler to other things. I think if you had the right technology, the right technical applications, you could do more meaningful work. You would have more work-life balance. You could have more adaptability. I think there's a really important lesson in that. And technology is great, but it's how it's applied.
I think there's a really important thing there. Computers are great, but they were terrible to use as when it was a command window, the DOS prompt style thing. Like, nobody cared. But as soon as you make it graphical and usable, people cared. And then you weren't a programmer or a computer programmer. You're just a human using a computer. I think technology is good, but it's going to be enabled for the masses to make it actually useful that people care for. So that's my thought on it there. Yeah, I think it's getting people engaged. You want, as I said, like you want people to come to work, feel like they got a purposeful job that they care about, that they want to be doing. And that's not just from a tech whiz person to it's somebody that's there to do a useful paid task. We need these jobs done that they feel engaged and they want to be there. The labor shortage is just the distribution of labor. We have people that would rather be a Uber driver or working gig economy jobs that have that flexibility because it's more engaging for them. And instead of working in a factory from moving something from point A to point B, both jobs need to get done, but the distribution of where that labor is probably too far to one side, where especially right now, we need manufacturing workers. We need people that want to show up and build amazing things. And it's an exciting time. Like, we're right at that cusp of like where the world's going to go. Like, the US is going to go on this massive expansion of this industry. And they're not going to lead it by having people moving things from point A to point B. They're going to lead it by innovation in this space. They have people excited to show up to work, to push it, kind of like that space race, but in manufacturing. I think that's what we're going to see here. And I'm pretty excited by it. That's one of the biggest opportunities, I think, ever to exist in this country or even globally.
That's awesome. Yeah. I don't think everyone sees it yet, though, Ken. They don't have the vision for it quite yet, but I think that they will. And I'm always interested in how jobs are going to evolve over the next 5 to 10 years. And I guess one of those things that I'm thinking about is I was watching Good Morning America this morning. And I don't know if you watch Good Morning America. And they were talking about Sam's Club. And how Sam's Club is going to start experimenting with this idea of taking the cash registers out and the checkout lines out of the store. And they're going to just do the whole express pay from the app. And you're going to be in and out of the store. And they're going to use AI at the doors with cameras. And they're going to be able to pick up whether or not you paid for your purchases or not. And I love a good convenient option like that. But they were also talking about how this could also take away cashier jobs. So in order to overcome that, they're retraining their cashiers and they're going to give them more customer experience training and more technology training and train them how to use the application appropriately, because they realize that when their customers come in the store, not all of them are going to be super tech savvy and understand express to pay, and that they may need help navigating the app. And that's just one of those examples on how I feel like jobs are constantly evolving with technology.
Well, that's the thing. I think they're definitely going to change. Like, the cashier jobs are disappearing. You can go into a Taco Bell these days and they've removed most of the counter and put in like a tablet where you just touch screen and you're ordering food these days. Like, that experience has changed. Does it mean that there's less Taco Bell jobs? Not really. There's people that had to design the software that went on there and maintain that software and create better marketing messages and have that better user experience and fine tune that continuously. That's happening at a Taco Bell, like just the same as the Sam's Club, you're saying. Like, these jobs change, they disappear, but new jobs get created, more interesting jobs, more that you have to train up to get there, which is great. That means everybody's moving forward. It means that you're going to have a higher value job. That means it's going to be useful for you tomorrow, not yesterday. I think that's the thing that we're seeing, is that the technologies and people are enabling these new jobs to be created. It's going to go from, like, in a manufacturing environment, somebody writing G code on a CNC machine, like, it evolves like what it's been forever, to using AI tools to do this sort of thing. It's going to move like from to a tablet, like an iPad. You give it to your kids probably, and or people give it to their kids. They can pick it up and use it straight away. If I give a robotic teach pendant or a CNC machine controller to a kid, they look at it and they try and touch the screen and nothing happens. They're like, how do I use this? I think we're going to see these sort of like interfaces, these experiences change from like manual execution to more of a process orchestration support job sort of thing. Like, it's going to be, how do you bring these technologies together and orchestrate it to have an intelligent system and that can adapt on the fly, so you can adapt to your customers' needs, that individual customer's needs, or the changes within the day, or the materials that you have. It's going to be how factories blend like that human creativity, which we're quite good at, even though we think ChatGPT can write better poems and everything than us. But there's a human aspect there that like leverages that. It superpowers them to actually do more. So the jobs are going to become more dynamic in how we actually get results and actually have better customer experience and have happier customers that are buying the products at the end of the day. And by doing that, we're going to have better employees within there. They're going to have better roles. They're going to be able to do these new skills. Nobody is a person that delivers paper to an office anymore. Like, we used to have these people that used to deliver reams of paper. Like, it's dropped right down. But what's happened is they're selling computers now. They're selling software. Like, these roles just evolved into newer things that are more interesting. So I think we're going to see that across not just manufacturing, but in all roles like that are associated with this. I think technology is good, but it's what people do with the technology. As I said, that creative side and how do we apply it to more industries. I'm excited by it. I think it's fascinating, man. Like,
I'm excited by it, but here's my thing. Here's my thing. This is not new. You know what I mean? What is the holdup? What is the business holdup, Ken? Like, why are we so late in deploying this technology? And why are we so behind on thinking about how we empower the workforce with the technology? Because it's already here. And you make a very valid point with Phoenix, my kiddo. He comes into my office and touches my MacBook screen because he is so used to the iPad. And he comes in and he touches it and he's like, why is this thing not moving? And I have to remind him and tell him, hey, this is a MacBook. This is not an iPad. And it doesn't have a touch screen. But at 8 years old, he is already operating that iPad and 3D printing and doing all kinds of cool stuff with it. And I just don't understand why this isn't moving in our industry at a more macro scale than it is.
so think about this. And I got this. Somebody said to me, I can't remember. I think it was a good friend of mine a bit of time ago. He said he's an investor, a really good investor. He invested in many amazing companies over the years. And he said to me, the generation right now knows how to use tablets. They have voice calls, they have video calls continuously. They're on Discord, they're gaming. And they're going to go into the work environment and it's not going to be that. We need to build tools that they care for, like that they're used to. Otherwise, they're going to show up and go, hang on, why can't I touch this? Why don't I have 5 streaming people in my conversation remotely down the side that I'm continuously talking to? Collaborating with, working, getting results, pushing each other. Right now, how we do remote work is we have a meeting a couple of times a day or whatever, once a week, different people, different ways. And we think that's collaboration. And it's no. Your kids are probably collaborating with their friends more in a virtual or digital world, just as much as we did in a physical world when we were kids ourselves. And I think we're going to move and the tools need to be there. I think right now it's like an early adopter. If you look at the innovation curve and where people are adopting this technology, we haven't hit that mass adoption of technology being adopted by people because people are still fearful. I think people are scared. I'm scared of technology, and you can dismiss it and push it away. A lot of people are like that, so we need to help them feel comfortable with it. It's okay to learn something. It's fine. Like, we're all going to go on this journey ourselves together. Um, I think that's one of the things that holds people back. They don't want to look stupid. They want to look like they're competent. They want to look like they know what they're doing, because if you don't want to get in trouble. And what's the old saying? Nobody ever got fired for buying IBM. It's like one of those things of, we'll do the same as we did yesterday because we know it's okay and you don't get in trouble if you do that. We haven't adopted and shifted yet, and the world's moving so fast. Nobody knows which thing to go for. So we need to help people adopt to technology in better ways. And I work in the manufacturing space, but there's many brilliant minds working in many other industries trying to move this ahead as well. I don't have answers for everything, but I think there's a fear of looking stupid that we need to overcome, and it's okay. We need to continuously learn through our employment, through our careers, that we have to continuously learn. It's not going to university or college for the first few years of our life and that's it. No, we need to keep evolving and learning. And I think that's what we need to start embracing a little bit more. It's okay that we don't know, but we can learn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is okay to try new things, and people should try new things. I try new things a lot as an entrepreneur. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Any creator, any entrepreneur will tell you sometimes you just got to try things. But being in this constant fear is not productive. And I think it's going to come from the top, like maybe from the leadership perspective that believes in deploying the technology, but also believes in providing good training for their employees, and the opportunity that they can give back is so valuable by doing that. It's going to build a more sustainable workforce over time. How do you think about training, Ken? When you're thinking about training techniques that are applicable for future skills, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's going to come from the top, like leadership. Provide good training to your employees, the opportunity to training, because they're giving you value. That's what your company is, generally your team. It will probably move over time to being more and more software tools part of your team. Like, they're your capabilities that you're surrounding your team with, that you give great value to your customers. So that's where your value in your company is. And as everybody knows, you can't have a company that sits still and doesn't move. That's how you go out of business. You need to invest in the tools, the people, and expand that out, and take people on the journey with you and say, it's okay, we'll teach you. We're gonna empower you with these sort of tools, and you're going to be happy about it too. You might find it a bit fearful, but you're going to be happy at the end of the day when you go home and go, oh, wow, I learned something. That's new. It's pretty exciting. I can do that in my role over here that nobody's ever thought of. I'm going to try and apply that. I think that's the thing. Great leadership will instill people, the masses, to actually move in this direction. That's how I sort of see it. That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
I love that, Ken. Thank you so much. And thanks for humoring me there. I'm very opinionated. I'm not normally this opinionated. This is quite provocative stuff on the show today. But I think it's important that every once in a while we have this company. What was the history that you had in your career that led to this decision?
I think it goes back into my history of looking at this. Like, there's this one problem. There's this ridiculous problem that just kept bugging at me. And I think that's key to any founder or owner of a business, that is, I've got to change this. I kept seeing this same pattern. And there was manufacturers. They wanted automation. This is not the tier one large Fords, Chryslers, everything like this. This is everyone else. The fatter tail of manufacturing. It's too complex. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do with it. Who do I ask? How do I justify the return on the investment on this? Like, how do they work all this stuff out? It kept bugging me. This same pattern I kept seeing with like people in manufacturing. They wanted automation, but they were stuck with these tools and sort of systems. They were too rigid and complicated, and they would hire somebody, and then that person would stay for a few months, and then they get paid $2 more an hour. They leave next door, and now they've got this complex equipment. They didn't know what to do. Like, it keeps happening. And then there wasn't enough people getting into this space. Like, people think robots are going to take over the world. And I'm like, they've been around for 70 years now, I think, or 60, 70 years. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they think AI and robots are going to, yeah, look, I do believe like we're going to move to more of a embraced world with technology. Like right now, like the hottest things are AI, robotics, and what people see when they see AI robotics, they see humanoid robot, and they're like, oh, they're coming for my job.
They're coming for all of us. We can't live in this fear, though.
But I can relieve the fear. I can relieve the fear. The robots are incredibly capable things. They've been around for 60, 70 years. Amazing things. They move from point to point. They do it every day, 365, 7 days a week. But somebody needs to program them to go from point to point. And we're getting more and more amazing tools that enable that to be like a little bit more dynamic and change a little bit. But what I was doing at work, like why I started Workr is like those tools don't exist. As I think I mentioned, like we're at that command prompt style thing of a computer program. We haven't had that Windows moment yet where people can use them. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great if people could get a robot to do the job? Like I've got a robot vacuum cleaner. I used to have one. I don't have it because it still doesn't do the job I want it to do. So it's in the corner like manufacturing robots. Soon, you'll be able to tell that robot, don't run over the rug in the corner because the tassels get caught in you and you get stuck in the corner and then you're useless.
Bless it. Oh, that poor Roomba.
It's funny because amazing engineers have built this hardware that has got smarter and better, can detect these things, but yet it will still get stuck under your chair and would not know how to get out. And it will sit there. I've got some amazing professors back in Australia. Michael Milford, I'll just put his name out there, wrote this amazing article. He's been for the last, I think, 10 years buying robots that clean the floor. And they all still do the same thing. He's got one chair and it all gets stuck under. And he, like, I said to him, I think I've said this to him, or I've said it to many other people, it'd be great if you could just say, avoid that chair. And it goes, okay, have a closed loop feedback. And I think that's what's pushed me with robotics is like, it's always been this one-way communication. I'm going to tell you to do something and you just do that and I never talk to you again. What I see what has to happen with robots to be useful and what drove me with Workr Labs is to say, I've told you to do that thing, but I didn't explain it correctly. So you need to actually do this other sort of slight other change, or my work has changed a little bit, my part has changed a little bit. I need you to update to change to and adapt to that. And that's that sort of thing I saw what a lot of manufacturers need. They don't build the same thing for 10 years. They build it for X amount of parts. A new customer comes in. They need to use automation to do that. Right now, they would go and speak to their staff, tell their staff what to do, train their staff on it, and then they'll do that part. And that thing there was like, hang on, I think we can use smarter technology that's accessible. I keep reading about why can't we apply it to manufacturing where there's a need and a desire and customers and a pain point. There's a friction there. Like, why can't we overcome that with technology and use applied technology to solve this problem? And that's what kind of drove me into this space.
Awesome. Yeah, that is something, right? I love that Roomba reference because it's just so funny and it's so true every single time that thing gets stuck. And if I could just tell it what to do.
It's a long problem that's been around, and I'm like, why isn't this solved? We seem to be still increasing innovation and technology, but we haven't made it easier to use, which would be that Windows moment. And that's kind of pushing me. And that's what inspires me to do what I do and with my team as well. And imagine it, but it's literally, if you could just tell it to avoid the plant, don't run over the dog poop, like whatever it is. Like it's that closed loop thing, and we just don't have it. And I think that is that thing. I really think people want adaptable, flexible automation. That's it. Pretty simple, basic sort of thing. And that's going to enable these manufacturers not just to have the existing business that we talk about the labor force not being there, but it's actually be able to do the job that customers are willing to pay money for to be competitive against like China, you could say, but anywhere else in the world. You can do it in this country using innovation not humans. And then the people are going to have more innovative jobs, like more useful jobs. I train 6 robots. That's what I do in my business. And and what skills I have, I'm learning how to do all these other things within the business to empower the business to actually be competitive. So manufacturing isn't a boring job. It's like the most exciting job there is. So you don't want to be an Uber driver. You want to work in manufacturing because you can get these robots to do all these cool things, and we're actually building things that customers want. We're not building widgets. We're not doing sort of little things that nobody really cares about. This is stuff that Americans are buying, that people want, and we're actually building it here in this country. And I go home and feel good about my job. That's what I'm thinking, and that's what I want to empower in people.
Yes, I love this. That's awesome. And so cool. See, this is the energy that we need, Ken. This is the energy that we need from everyone.
It takes partnership as well. Like we've got so many distracted, different siloed parts that we need to solve. Then we need to all work on, and we need leaders in all these areas to bring it along. It's not up to one person, one company. It's everybody needs to move forward. We need good leaders to really push, be competitive. There's enough business out there for everyone to succeed in this and to challenge and then to drive each other. I think competition is the greatest thing. It shows there's a market, but it also pushes you to be better in your business and vice versa. So more great leaders competing in this space, empowering more people to have better jobs and build better products that are competitive, not just sell to the country, our country here, but to every country. Be the best at it. There's no reason why we can't. And then people are going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. The whole country is going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. That's where I feel like I want more people to be involved in this. And
Well, in an effort to maybe share some of your experiences and knowledge in creating a startup company like Workr Labs, can you tell us what that process looks like? If I say I want to go just start a company, what does that process look like? What are some tips and tricks of the trade that you can share with us about doing that?
I think there's always one thing I've always looked at, and this is multi-time founder doing this sort of thing, not always successful. Like I think that's key here too. But there's been the simple thing that has been successful is this: find that core value, solve the real pain that somebody's having, the problem. Not come up with the shiny thing, the cool tech. Like it's easy to build the cool tech, but if it doesn't work as it's meant to, like that core value, nobody cares. 10 other features on it doesn't mean that the core thing works. You might get lucky and one of those features might become the product, but there's a core thing you need to actually do. And like in manufacturing, it's uptime. It's doesn't work every single day. Can they rely on it? You're buying equipment generally, and the last 10 years or even longer, worked on machines older than me. Otherwise, nobody cares. It's got to work. And it's got to do that one thing. And if you went to your customer and said, I'm going to take that one thing away, are you going to be okay? And they're going to, if they don't scream and yell at you and try to steal it off you or whatever, you haven't solved anything probably, or you haven't sold it correctly, or you haven't uncovered what that is. That product market fit, as we say in the startup world. Have we found it? Is there value there? Does anybody care? So you've got to stay close to the customer. You got to watch how they work. How do they work with your product? And obsess, like, removing the friction. Make it so they love it or can't live without it. Maybe sometimes people don't love your product, but they can't live without it. You can then improve to make them love it. I think that's the key thing. Core value, make something that people care about. It's a real pain. It removes friction. Even if it's a bit of friction, they'll probably buy it again and tell a friend, tell another company. That's what I look at.
That's awesome. That's great advice. And you hear that all the time, right? In your career and professional life, generate value, and what's your value proposition, and how are you creating value to solve a problem?
Yeah. It's the biggest thing. I think, a lot of people want to build the shiny tech thing, but most customers care about the result, the outcome. Does it solve the problem? Does it remove that friction? So yeah, shiny tech's cool. Yeah, I love it. I work in tech and I love that stuff, but does it do anything for someone? Do they care?
Yeah, you're right there. There's definitely this divide between shiny tech and actual manufacturing companies, I've noticed. And I think some of the stuff that you're working on kind of fits the needs of both of those parties. And I think we need more of that too, more of this collaboration, more of the silo disrupting technology.
Yeah, like that's the thing that we do in Workr is like robots are amazing pieces of technology. How to make them to do the job where you need to change it all the time is difficult and costly, and there's not enough people that know how to do it. So being able to solve that pain point of I've got this piece of expensive hardware or a robot to do a task, but I need to retool it, rejig it because my customer has now got a different product. How do I do that? That's that pain point. Like, there's a pain point there. It's like there's a friction. It's like I want to have more robots to do more variety so I can have better outcomes, higher yield, higher quality, not just a labor shortage, but I need to get this done and I don't have 2 shifts, but I can run 1.5 shifts and bring 3 other people on or 3 people on, but with extra robots to do this stuff. But how do I get the robot to do the job? So with what we do at Workr is that we actually just empower like a user interface. And I keep coming back to this user interface because in that Windows moment, because it's how does a kid use an iPad? They just pick it up and press buttons. Our product requires zero training. We give it to anybody and they can use our product to program a robot to do the task. And it's generally because the task and capability in manufacturing is tied to a machine. We work in industrial robots, and that robot generally is either bolted to the floor or very much stationary in where it is. And the task that it's working on is working with this machine in machine tending applications or a bin picking application where it's got to pick something out of a bin and place it somewhere or pick it off a table, place it somewhere. How that normally happens is many lines of code, and you write it on a controller that looks like it's from 1980, even from the newest brands of robots. It's, who can use this? They have no idea. What we're trying to instill is not have no code. It's like there's no need for code. Let's move that out of the way. There's no flow diagrams. There's just pictures. And it's like, put your part down. Yes. Learn it.
Really, though, in all seriousness, okay, like in all seriousness, just hear me out. As a recruiter, it's a whole thing. And coming from workforce development for some time, my tech skills, they're not great. And I think that's a well-known fact. But in all seriousness, if I were given a set of instructions that were absolutely so simple I couldn't mess it up, can you imagine for just a second how much more talent you would have access to? If you didn't need a specific person for a specific role because it was so dependent on the technicalities of that position, would that not unlock a new group of talent for you as a hiring company?
Yeah. That's exactly where we went. And that's where we started from is we used to have a concept that I know quite well. It's like where you would show someone, they then use it, and then they teach someone else. Okay, that was great, but then we found out that we didn't actually have to show people our product and demonstrate it for them to use it. We just give it to them. And they're like, oh, I've never touched a robot. And it's like, that's fine. And they're like, what do I do next? And the button says, press here. Literally. We get delivery drivers in. When they drop off a parcel, come in, have a go. We want to get user feedback. Have a go. And they give it a go. They're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, and they do it. And they're successful. I can program robots and say, yeah, you're now a robot programmer. It's awesome. Anybody. This is cool. I didn't think I could actually program a robot. I didn't know this world even existed. And they're just like, yeah, they're like, and I'm like, I think there's a good question I should start asking them is, would you prefer to do this than your current job? And don't just think of a one, but it's to enable people, as it goes back to have a happy job. They might like driving their trucks or whatever, like all everyone's different. Everyone likes their own things, but I want to let people have the opportunity to work in an exciting role. And manufacturing needs people right now. In this country, here in the US, we need people to be in manufacturing. And we want people to be happy to be in manufacturing. That's why they show up and they want to be this. So making it easier, making it more fun, making it more adaptable, making it so they feel like they're a superpower. Like I can program robots to pick these things up. I've got 10 robots I look after. they're a manager. They feel like they're a manager. Like they're my staff, like my robot staff. That's the sort of thing we're working towards. And that's that sort of interface we have. Now, how we do that, there's a huge amount of technology underneath. There's a huge amount. It's if you think of like how ChatGPT works. It's a command, like you got a chat box. Oh, it's easy. How that works is extremely difficult. Same as what we do. And that's our secret sauce. That's what sits underneath. We do all this reinforcement learning. We use computer vision, leading computer vision models to actually understand the world around it. We're not AGI. We're a technology that looks at the world within reach. We're a robot. We can only work in this area. So we need to understand, oh, there's a CNC from Haas behind us. Cool, we can get over there. Oh, there's a chuck in there. We need to open and close. Oh, we know how to work that out. Oh, there's the parts. There's the finished parts. Oh, actually, do the finished parts go over there? Let's ask the human. And then we get the human to give input. We like, what do you want to do with the finished? Yeah, it's that feedback. And when the robot does a task and it's good, it will show the user, hey, this is what I'm predicting I'm going to do. This is what I've just done. Are you happy with the result of it? And it gives them a chance to go, oh, yeah, we forgot. I forgot to tell you that we don't want to put it back where we picked it. We want to put it over here when we're done. It's, oh, okay. And it can learn and adapt. That's the thing. It's making it more like flexible, adaptable. It's giving you I was an apprentice. I feel like it's like an apprentice or a worker that you're training up and you're teaching them new skills. I think are really fun. And you can do this over time and it gets better over time, better and better. And it learns extremely fast. This is not like an apprentice like I was. This is using the power of technology and like a chat GPT when we type something and you get an amazing sort of bit of text out of it or does some calculations for us. This is doing it in manufacturing.
I love it. I think it's great. And I think it is definitely the future of work. Ken, this has been such an amazing conversation. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You are so much fun. You are such a good human, and I'm so thankful that I met you. And I can't wait to see you at Automate this year.
Yeah, as you said, like the easiest way probably I'm going to be at Automate. My team's going to be at Automate. You can see our systems in operation. I think a few vendors are going to be showing off our equipment too. That we're trying to empower more and more people to have powers, superpowers in manufacturing, in their shop floor, but also the people that are deploying robots. There's a key thing there we didn't touch on, but the team of the automation system integrators, how we want to get them involved and be excited by this because they're like at the heart of this as well. They need to deploy smarter robots. But the best way to get hold of me is through LinkedIn. I'm Ken Macken. I'm on LinkedIn. I respond to everybody that sends me anything. Or you can come through our website, which is Workr Labs. It's a Workr without an E dash labs, but probably Anne will have some details there for you. She can put in the show notes. But yeah, we're trying to connect with the community. I've got a great team. I'm building my team out. I need more people. I need more people in my workforce as well. We're going to be holding more events. We also have an experience center here in the Bay Area, but we spend a lot of time out in the Midwest. We've got good customers out there, good brands, good distributors, people that want to build upon this. So we're everywhere. We can come to you. You can come to us. We don't want to stop your production. So bring your parts. We'll show them off. And we want people to be involved in this.
I love that so much. Ken, thank you so much for being on the show today. If anyone is out there listening in the audience and you want to get a hold of Ken, just reach out to him on LinkedIn and everything will be linked in the show notes as well for you. And we will see you all next time on Workforce 4.0.